Eyal, do you think people struggle more with persuading others or with understanding what actually moves people in the first place?
That's a great question. I think that people are relying more on rational facts when they are debating or if they have a conflict or they're trying to make a decision. And that's why they get stuck because they're just focusing on rationalism. And then the other side is also focusing on the same thing, which is just providing counter rational facts. And that's why in many cases it just leads no one to nowhere, and then they're just standing at the same spot as they were before. So the answer is
Huh.
yes.
Okay, so basically, it's not that they, well, I mean, I guess it goes one with the other. It's like, yeah, so we struggle with persuading others, sounds like, because, but it's because we don't understand what actually moves people in the first place. So basically, we tend to, based on what my understanding is that you said that we tend to rationalize a lot. If, if, but here's my question though. So why do facts alone, like being rational, it's like, okay, this is, if I want to convince you about something and I tell you, hey, yo, this is, we should do this because of this, and that, right?
Yeah.
Why that alone fails to move, even when they're objectively true?
Because I think in many cases, the goal is not to find the common ground, but just to find who the right one is. So if you want to decide where really want to go tomorrow, you think A and I think B. So my goal is to show you that I am right and you are wrong. So you will share with me rational reasoning why you are right, and then my goal will be actually to contradict your reasoning. So at the end of the day, we'll be just busy of like contradicting each other instead of just finding a solution which will be like a win-win for both of us.
Okay, okay, I definitely see that, and I find this fascinating because in my mind, even there's something about us, about, I guess, the human brain or emotions, I should say it as well, that even if, hypothetically speaking, you're trying to convince me about something that benefits me, it's not even that it benefits you, but also it benefits me. But I feel that kind of like the ego gets in the way, and it's our unwillingness to look that we made a mistake, to look like we are wrong, because that threatens our sense of self. So in your studies, in your work, what have you discovered when it comes to the reaction? Because it seems like some people are more growth minded, some people are more open to, oh yeah, I made a mistake, cool, I'll change, I adapt and move on. But those are fewer and fewer every single day. Seems like more people tend to push back and reject any kind of idea, even if it benefits them. In your mind or in your work, outside of being rational or emotional when it comes to delivering the message, what do you think is the main issue why we have so much resistance to being persuaded or convinced by others?
I think that first of all, nobody likes to be wrong. Uh, that's not like something that we want to experience. We want to be the right ones, not the ones who are wrong all the time. So you don't want to admit that you're wrong. But I think the other issue is that sometimes we are just talking and we think that we speak the same language, but we don't speak the same language. So when I'm saying language, I don't mean that both of us are speaking English right now. I'm talking, and in the way that I talk, I represent the values that I grew on. And when you're talking, you're using the values that you're using and the values that you're familiar from your life. And then at one point, there's some kind of like a clash between us because our values are not the same. So I'm talking A with my values, you're talking B, which are your values, and they don't coexist with each other. And then I think that eventually, like will try to persuade you that my truth, like my values, are the right ones, and you will try to explain to me that your values are the right ones, and then no solution will be found eventually. And I think this is the main issue of using rational facts, because again, I will try to persuade you that my truth is my truth because it's my truth and I believe in it. And you will tell me, no, this is not the truth. This is the truth. And then you will just like provide me your reasoning for that, A, B, C, D, E. And then it will be like an endless ping pong between both of us. That it will take us a lot of time to find the solution. But again, it depends on the personality, depends on the person that you're speaking with. And the solution that I'm offering here, and that's what I'm also offering when I'm delivering my courses at universities, is to use emotions. Because many people are relying mainly on rational facts. Because how can you argue rational facts? Like if I'll tell you that I went yesterday to the supermarket and it was really cold outside, you cannot argue with that. It was cold. I can show you, okay, it was, I don't know how many degrees. In Europe, we're using like Celsius. But my definition of cold is not your definition of cold. So my truth is not your truth. So instead of that, if I will just share with you my emotions or what I felt, this is something that can be more relatable and you can understand it better. And then I can actually deliver my message more successfully.
Hmm. I find it's very interesting what you just said because a long time ago, either I read this quote or I heard it somewhere that somebody said the most dangerous form of blindness is believing that your perspective is the only reality. And what you're saying is true. It's like, okay, you and I can have two different truths about the same event, and both are valid because those are seen from a different lens, and both are technically true. But in that case, then sure, I mean, I understand how it's hard to argue against facts because clearly facts are facts. Just data that is proven, as you said, is something that it cannot be shut down, I guess. And that's how you
Yeah.
have to put the emotional side of it, because we are emotional beings. Even people that say that they're not emotional, somebody's there are studies that say that people who cannot feel any emotions, that's something's wrong with the brain, lose their capacity to make choices or to make
Yeah.
decisions. It seems like every decision we make is highly emotional. We don't have to
Yeah.
be in a heightened state of emotions, but everything is emotional. Now, how do, as an expert in communication and persuasion, as you are, and I and you teach this um, on a weekly basis, how do we communicate something that challenges someone without triggering resistance?
Yeah. So I have 2 points to mention here. First of all, you were talking about accuracy. My truth is not your truth. Um, there is a model named heuristic systematic model, which is in the world of persuasion, which is actually talking about how we process persuasive messages. So, if, for example, I'm trying to persuade you to go to the cinema with me, the model is actually analyzing how my messages of trying to persuade you are being processed by you. So the model claims that we have two modes here. We have the heuristic mode and we have the systematic mode. The systematic mode says that you're actually elaborating all the information beforehand and after the decision itself. That means that if I'm trying to persuade you to go with me, you will think, okay, why should I go with him? What will happen after I'll go to the cinema with him? I will be happy, we will watch a nice movie or not. And on the other side, we have the heuristic mode, which means that in many cases, you're making your decision based on heuristics. Heuristic are rule of thumbs, some kind of like a shortcuts that we have in our brain that help us to make a fast decision. For example, if I will tell you that all the apples that you buy from this stores will always be disgusting because I had one experience that I bought an apple from this store and it was horrible, you can just implement my shortcut and then you will never buy apples from this store. Doesn't mean that it's truth, doesn't mean that they will always have bad apples. No, but it's just my experience. So you're just implementing my experience. This is heuristic, some kind of like a shortcut how to make fast decisions. Then this model also claims that there are three motivations that are actually helping us to make a decision: accuracy, defense, and impression. Now, accuracy, and that was actually the first motivation. People claim that when you're making a decision, you want to find a decision, you want to make a decision that will provide you the right solution. So, if, for example, I want to buy toothpaste, then I will try to find the best paste that I can find in the store. But that's a problematic issue because one product can be good to you and your product might be bad for me. So it doesn't mean that I can find the best product in the world because it will be good for me, but bad for you. And this is the problem with one truth because it was believed that there's only one truth in the world. And now we know that it ain't so. So you should follow and you should make decisions based on your values, which will actually be beneficial for you. And I should do the same, but it might cause us to have like different, like we might make different decisions. So this is definitely important to understand that like there isn't one truth in the world. You have your own and I have mine. Now with decisions, so research are showing that when you're making a decision, in most of the cases, you're making your decision based on the emotion, what you want to
Hmm.
earn from it, emotion wise, and then you just justify it by rational facts. For example, I bet that you're familiar with the campaign of Red Bull. It gives you wings; you can
Wings.
fly. Yeah. So if you're going to drink Red Bull, you're not going to fly, obviously. But why people actually using this brand, actually consuming this beverage? Because they believe that they will drink it and something good will happen out of it. Suddenly they will have wings and they can literally fly.
Hmm.
So they're more selling the feeling or the experience rather than is it healthy to drink Red Bull? Like what your body can actually earn from consuming this beverage.
Huh. Huh. You just mentioned something that, especially on the last part, that I was like, I wonder, and probably is like more often, or maybe 100% of the times, but I wonder how often we use logic to justify decisions we have already made emotionally.
I'm sure that like if you're making a decision emotionally, you can always rationalize it. For example,
But
what sorry.
no. I wonder is how many times we think we're just convinced. I wonder how many times that decision already happened subconsciously, and we're just
Yeah.
trying to find facts or logic just to justify why we're doing it when the decision was already made. We just need to convince ourselves why we're doing it.
Yeah. I think actually, this is something that I'm experiencing with my students that we're talking about decisions that you're making, again, based on the heuristic mode, like really fast, or the systematic mode, that you actually care what will happen afterwards. And in many cases, they are sharing like examples of decisions. And then suddenly they realize that they're making the decision based on emotions and not based on rational facts. Like we are talking about it, we are reviewing some decisions, and then suddenly they have this like you hear like this like click in their brain that they're like, oh yeah, I just bought it. I don't really need this product. I just bought it because I want, I don't know, to feel something. And then they will say, yeah, but it wasn't discount. So it was like one plus one. So here's the justification why it's okay that I bought it.
Hmm. It sounds it sounds like a lot like, I don't know if you. I guess the only thing, especially when you mentioned buying something, my brain went to, there was this trend on TikTok, Instagram, on social media a few years ago about girl math, that if you have cash in hand and you buy something, that was free because you didn't use your car, or if you did, like, and it's almost, or even how you see things on discount, like when people buy, let's say I need to buy, I saw something that it was $100 but it used to be 150, and I go, oh, I'm gonna buy it, so I'm saving $50. Well, actually, you spend $100, that you save $50 because that's the illusion that it's the logic you're using just to justify a behavior. And marketing is brilliant at that, because making people feel and believe that they're getting a deal, that there
Yeah.
is such a steal. Um and yeah, it's I wonder, and I guess in your case, one is the marketing, one is just advertising and companies just putting things on sale. But when it comes to either you in person using a repertoire of skills or even of techniques to persuade other people, and I mean this in if for the greater good rather than trying to manipulate someone, how do you create a environment in which those people or that person is highly likely to be persuaded?
Can I answer with an example?
Yes, please.
All right. Are you familiar with the guerrilla in Colombia?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, in 2012, the Ministry of Defense in Colombia was trying to fight the guerrilla warriors in Colombia, but not the regular fight as we all know. They were trying to change their technique. What did they do? They actually had interviews with warriors who demobilized from being guerrilla warriors. They interviewed them in order to understand how they work, what they do, how do they move, how do they commute from place to place, where are they? And then they get some information, and then they realize that they have neglected bases in the jungles. So during Christmas, the Ministry of Defense, with also the leading marketing agency in Colombia, who actually helped them to conduct this, I would say, marketing campaign. They went to the jungle to one of the neglected bases, and then they put around some trees, some light bulbs with a sensor, motion sensor, that if you just walk by this tree, suddenly the lights are on with a huge sign. If I'm not mistaken, if Christmas came to the jungle, you can come back home. We are waiting for you. This campaign was a major success. Some of the warriors actually demobilized and went back home. A few years afterwards, they had another campaign, which is called the Mother Voice. They realized that the only time that the guerrilla warriors are actually allowed to watch TV is during the soccer season. Then they filmed several mothers sitting in their houses, sitting down, showing pictures of their kids when they were kids, because now they are not kids anymore. Why? Because if they would show like real pictures of the kids, then something bad can happen to them. So they had to make sure that they cannot realize that they're actually them. Then they made a commercial out of it. You can see several mothers sitting, looking out of the window, waiting with this dramatic music in Spanish. And you can see that the mothers are waiting, showing the picture. The overall vibes are really, really sad. And then it says, before you were a guerrilla, you were my son. Come back home. And then they launched this campaign during the soccer season, which is the only time that the guerrilla warriors are actually allowed to watch TV. And this campaign was a major success. I don't know exactly how many warriors demobilized, but we're talking about hundreds of warriors who demobilized and went back home. Now, I'm using this example constantly in my courses. I'm talking about it like every week, because this is the perfect example. I can explain to you rationally why you're doing something and it's wrong. Don't do it because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Also, your parents are waiting for you. Come back home, please. But if you have two options to get like, I don't know, like a flyer with all the reasoning, like rationalism, why you should come back home, or you can see a mother, not necessarily your mother, just sitting and waiting with this dramatic music in the background and saying, before you were a guerrilla, you were my son. It triggers something. And since this campaign was a major success, this is a huge proof that emotionalism beats rationalism. And if you want to persuade someone, you need to use emotions. I'm not saying just emotions and no rationalism at all, but the dominant element should be emotions.
First of all, what a fascinating story, and what a fascinating technique to just demobilize all these people from the jungle and bring them back home. And sometimes I wonder is because it seems to me that it is easier to tap into facts. It is easier to tap into rationality when it comes to explaining or when it comes to trying to persuading someone, because we have it right, right at our hands. But when it comes to using other people's emotions, it requires like more effort. it
Yeah.
requires understanding human behavior maybe at a slightly deeper level, because by the way, what might work for you might not work for a friend of yours or your
Yeah.
coworker. So is each person has their own set of emotions and triggers that will make them make a decision or even change their minds. And I
Yeah.
wonder which emotions tend to be the strongest when it comes to persuading. And this is just to give a context from my question, because I think, as I said, everyone is different. But I was a person who was interviewed on a different podcast. He was sharing how he helped a lot of people to lose 10, 15 pounds or 20 pounds. It wasn't like a big weight loss. And instead of telling them, oh, this is just good for you, like imagine yourself, even using emotions, imagine you being able to, at the age of 50 or 60 or 70, hang out with your grandkids, be able to move and not be in bed and just be very active. What this guy did was to make them download this app that can take a picture of them with 30 pounds overweight or 60 pounds overweight and put them in the fridge. So the brain is like, okay, we don't want that, so we're going to change our habits, because if not, that's our future,
Yeah.
rather than putting a picture of themselves with six pack. So it's interesting how in certain situations, thinking about positively, it's like, okay, if I follow this path, this will make me happy or successful, but if I follow this path, it's going to make me miserable. It's almost like, what would do we feel more inclined to just, are we run, is it fear more powerful than a potential joy or happiness, or it depends on the context?
Yeah. Um, Great questions, first of all. So, first of all, I think that for us, it's always easier to talk with rationalism and data because this is how we are used to. Since we are going to school, like you need to go to school, you have tests, you need to analyze certain situations, and you always need to do it like the rational way because this is how the education system is based on. Um, and that's why when I will try to persuade you to go with me, I will try to give some rational facts because this is what I'm used to. Also, when we were in school, like when we went to school, they taught us that if you want to make an important decision, for example, I want to go and study in the States, I need to prepare myself, I need to read, I need to write like the advantages, the drawbacks, talk with people, get some recommendations. So you need to dedicate a lot of time to this investigation. What should I do? And then you're just wasting tons of time. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. You should do it. But you also need to give some space to your feelings. Now, as for your second questions about the emotions, we talked about Red Bull, that it gives you wings. You want to fly, like everybody wants to fly. If you're talking about Coca-Cola, for example, one of their dominant elements in their ads is that you can see like bunch of friends or family during Christmas drinking Coke, and what? Everyone is smiling, and everyone is laughing like crazy, as if now we are going to have a Coke. Both of us, we are going to laugh like crazy. So you want to be in their shoes, like you want to have this laugh when you drink Coke. Obviously, you will drink Coke and you will not laugh like this. But you want to be in their shoes. So you want to have what they are feeling. And what should you do? Go buy Coke and then you will have the time of your life. And this guy that you mentioned, he sees, like the person sees himself minus 30 pounds and he wants to be this person. Like he wants to be in his shoes. So he wants to have the feeling that this person is feeling, which is, look at me, I'm skinny. And this is how it works. I can tell this guy it's not healthy. You need to do sport. You might have some health issues as you get older. It might work, but it will work way faster if you just show this guy how he will look like minus 30 pounds.
Well, interesting, and probably I didn't sort of frame it correctly, and that's on me. It's like, no, in this particular scenario, he made them put a picture of them extremely overweight, and they were running away
Okay.
from it. So it's almost like they changed their habits based on, well, if that's a daily reminder on, say, a picture of my fridge, that if I continue this lifestyle, that's how I'm gonna look like, right? So
Yeah.
it's almost like and I guess everyone has a different uh, source of motivation.
Yeah.
Some people run away from fear, while others um, run towards a happier, better future, like a more positive image. And I think it depends on each person. But and this is something that I guess people are struggling with, and this is once again exercise and or even the Coke or even Red Bull. Those are for people to maybe change lifestyles or maybe adopt a product. But in this day and age where there's so much divisiveness, yeah, a lot of people are just left against right or men against women or this against that. It seems like there's this, we're getting further and further apart. And as somebody who can see both sides and see, okay, I like some things about this side, but I don't like some, and same with the other side. What baffles me is how people reject. Imagine that you and I are different, right? In terms of our beliefs, our values. I said, you know what? Screw you. Yeah, I'll never talk to you. I'll never even be friends with you because you think X, Y, and Z. Well, is it my point just to stand on my ground and say, I don't want you? Or is it my point to bring you on my side and then maybe help you see things from a different perspective? And people are so caught up into their own identities, like, okay, no, no, no. If it's some like here you hear, or at least in America all the time, if you voted for a Kamala, screw you. If you voted for Trump, screw you. We're not going to talk to each other. Well, if you want your quote unquote party to keep winning or to finally win, you have to bring people to your side. And by rejecting them, by telling them how wrong they are, whether you're right or not, you're doing a disservice to yourself. So in persuasion, is it less about influence and more about protecting someone's sense of self? Because the only way that I would assume that I can bring it to my side is if I can somehow, some way plant a seed, asking questions, make you feel like, you know what, maybe Daniel is right, but then allow enough time and space for you to just process it on your own and let that thing grow. But it seems people are too reactive rather than being more conscious about it and instead of being more strategic.
Yeah. I think that, I don't think that we are going to talk about politics, but you can
Yeah,
definitely see
yeah.
it with politics that
Mm-hmm.
people don't like to listen. And when they do, let's assume that now we're going to talk about politics. I'll be busy, like my main focus. It's not me as an example. I think I'm giving like an example of the
Yeah,
world.
yeah,
The main
yeah.
focus is contradicting your claims. Whatever you will say, I will try to contradict it to show you that you are wrong and I'm right. And this is exactly, the source of truth. There's only one truth, which is my truth. So you're wrong and I am right. And then with you, it will be the same way. You'll be so busy with just contradicting what I'm saying instead of just, listening. And that's why I always find this, I would say, like battle between emotions and rationalism so interesting, because with rational facts you can argue, obviously. Okay, I will tell you X, you can say no, that's wrong, it's Y. But with emotions, maybe you can argue, but like if I will share with you how I'm feeling right now, you cannot argue with me. Like if I will tell you that I'm sad right now because you insulted me, you cannot tell me that I'm wrong. You need to respect my feeling, and what I'm feeling is what I'm feeling. It's not what you're feeling. And that's why I feel that like emotion is a way better tool how to deliver the message more successfully. And that's what I'm trying to also deliver my students, that if they want to deliver a message, um, use the emotions. Think what you want to deliver, how it can actually benefit you. I'm not saying let's do emotional manipulation, let's lie that I'm sad. No, but if I want to try to persuade you to do something because you heard me or because I want us to go to Hawaii together, let me focus on what you're going to feel when both of us will go to Hawaii. The excitement, the adventurous, the happiness, the joy. And then I will say, let's do it because there's a holiday next week.
You know,
So you want to go to Hawaii with me or not?
I'm always open to a nice trip, man. Yeah, but but see, in all
Yeah.
seriousness, there it's just I have so many thoughts in my head. But the
Yeah.
first one I'm going to address is, which I'm probably going to bring a question later on.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to put here in a box the the politics is not so much about politics, but about what happens internal in people's
Yeah.
bodies and brains.
Mind.
But I'll give an example how it just came to mind how how easily persuasion works. Of course, small things, especially among relationships. So I don't know if you. I think his name is James Sexton or something. He's one of the most famous divorce lawyers in New York City, in the world. He's been so many podcasts. He was sharing a story how he was one of his girlfriends used to complain on weekends how that he wasn't clean shaved, that how his beard was kind of pokey, and she's like, "Hey, I don't like it. Can you just shave it because it is uncomfortable." And for him, it was, dude, I clean shave 5 times a week just because I'm a lawyer. I need to be in court. I need to be well presented. Give me just 2 days, right? I mean, what is 2 days out of seven? Like nothing. And slowly but surely, he mentioned and he expressed how he was getting some sort of resentment towards her. Because come on, why can't you just be more open minded or just be more um be accept this part of myself more? Months later or years later, he had a different girlfriend. And what she would do every time that, say, on a weekday, she would kiss him and say, "Oh, I love how your just face feels so smooth. I love this feeling." And he would be looking forward to just shave even Saturday and Sunday because it wasn't something that he was being asked to do, but oh, she
Yeah.
loves this part of me. So using psychology in a way
Yeah.
that as a positive reinforcement
Yeah.
rather than, yeah, I don't like when you do this, but actually I enjoy when you do X, Y, and Z. So you
Yeah.
feel value, you feel seen. Oh, you know what? And almost automatically, without me asking you, you will do that thing. So both women were asking the exact same thing. One of them was complaining, the other one was saying, "Oh, I love this thing." So when it comes to persuasion, some how you even change how you say things can hugely change. I mean, it can change things in a big way, and I wish I had known that while I was married.
Yeah.
It's not that the marriage fell apart because of that, but that clearly affect. So that is a point that if you want to share something, we will touch. But when it comes to politics, since I put it here in a box, many times I wonder, like, what can people do when they find themselves in that position? Imagine you and I have different, you like red, I like blue, or you like pink, I like yellow, or whatever the case may be. So instead of having a conversation, or let me understand, let me see why Eyal likes blue or likes pink or likes yellow, likes brown. It's like, no, if he likes something different than me, then I feel attacked. So I need to attack him and prove to him why he's wrong and I'm right. And how can people, because at the end of the day, the only thing that you can control is your actions and how you react to things. How can they pull themselves out of their own loop and
Yeah.
see things from a different angle? And instead of attacking the other party or the other person, see, okay, how can I convince this person? How can I just detach my emotions from his or her opinion and find a way to just change the lens on that person and hopefully bring them to my side? Because I think we are too reactive and we don't put enough time into, let me take a step back and
Yeah.
let me figure out a way to convince the other person.
Yeah. So until now, I told you that you're asking great questions. Now I'm saying that you're asking me hard questions. Um, this is a great question, to be honest, and I don't know, like how to help people to open up and challenge their opinions. This is a great challenge. Um, that's a great question, and I don't have any answer because I think it's really hard, because once you have your own opinion, you don't want to be challenged because, again, my opinion is the right one. So who are you to challenge my opinion? Because my opinion is based on facts, and my facts are right. So this is the truth here. But I think that that even when I'm talking about emotions, it's not that I'm saying that like use emotions and then you will manage to persuade anyone, and you will get always what you want. It's not what I'm saying. I don't think that it's even like the case here. The only thing that I'm saying with emotions that if you want to be able to deliver your message more successfully, and again, it depends on the person, because if the person will be open to hear your opinion, or if the person doesn't care what you think, that's an issue. But the best you can do is how to improve the way that you deliver messages. And in this case, using emotions and combining them also with some, like spice it up with some rational facts, is the way. And you were talking about framing, like the example with the beard, which is really, I really like this example. Um, how do you frame your messages? Like, in what color do you color them? Are you going to color them as "I hate when your beard looks like this," or are you going to color it in a different color? Like, I love it. Like, it's so nice that you are shaved. And it reminds me that there was a research conducted in Chile and Peru during COVID, and they actually checked what kind of emotions were used during COVID. That the ads, like the campaigns, advertisements were about COVID. Some of them were about vaccination and so on. But so it was during COVID and it was about COVID. Because I assumed that they thought that since we're talking about COVID and everyone was stuck at home and everyone was depressed because we were at home 24 hours, it will be mainly negative emotions. We are all going to die. Take the vaccination, otherwise others will die. And then they found out that the dominant emotions, despite the time, which was very black and depressing for everyone, it was mainly positive emotions. So even when you want to persuade someone to do something, to keep distance or to take the vaccination or whatever, during a very sad and hard time for everyone, they were still using positive emotions. And it's not just in Peru and Chile where they conducted the research. They checked it globally. So that means that the positive emotions are way more, I would say, commonly used. But it's important to mention that it's also very important with, we can always see like high effects, like in the academics, with negative emotions. Like the example they gave you now with the guerrilla. Before you were a guerrilla, you were my son. The emotion that they used there was sadness, obviously. You see mothers, it's all sad, drama, drama, drama with this music in the background. But the outcome was so positive. So also using negative emotions is good. But we can definitely see that positive emotions are way more commonly used.
Hmm. Got it. I guess partially it has to be a lot of trial and error. Like, I mean, as we said, sometimes a campaign using anger or using, well, anger is very effective about convincing people other things, but it's not very good, I guess. But or using sadness or using grief or using joy or using happiness or using even love. I guess when you and I were talking off cameras last week, you mentioned how instead of COVID will kill you, it's like more protect your loved ones, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, oh, I don't care about my own life, but I care about my loved one's life, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how that works. And with the question I asked you before, and this is just for future reference, because I have to bring you back at some point. I think we're running out of time now. Because once again, there are so many different questions about human behavior, how we can rationalize things for our own sake or for influencing others. But the way that would, I wouldn't say challenge, but even give you like maybe a way to, if you want to add it to your work or just understand it better, it's like how would or how have you done it? Meaning when you have faced situations in which people are thinking differently than you or have a different opinion than you, what has helped you to gain more awareness? Now we're all different, obviously, so what might work for you might not work for me, or vice versa. That pull you out of your head and you took a couple steps back, say, okay, I'm feeling triggered now. Why? And now what can I do instead of attacking and pushing back? Let me take a deep breath and let me find another way to manage this situation. And this could be for something small in couples, among friends, co-workers, or even bigger things in business deals. But yeah, that's just because I know it was a hard question, and but mostly it's not one size fits all. But what I like to do on this podcast is, well, maybe the way that EL experienced it, it could be something that it gets people enough information or even enough insights. Like, well, maybe I should try that, or maybe I should just consider that. But that's just on a side note. I do
I
want to
have
ask. Yeah, 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 yeah.
sorry
Go
for
for it.
interrupting. I have actually a good answer, like a good
Oh,
example.
awesome. Yeah. Let's,
Yeah. Like I'm challenging you and you're challenging me. That's great. This is actually a story from back in the days. Um, I had a team member. Actually, it was my colleague. I was not his team manager, but I had a team member who wanted to ask for a raise. All right. And then he shared with me the story. He told me that he asked for a raise, and then he had a conversation with his manager, and he shared with me the reason that he gave him why he should get a raise. Now I remember that one of the reasons was I'm an only son, like I don't have any brothers and sisters. I support my parents. I'm working here for more than 5 years. I managed to do one, two, three, four, five, and and that's it. And then he told me that his manager was not that keen of like increasing his salary. And then I told him, this is very interesting what you're doing, because what you're doing is you're asking for a raise, which is totally okay, but you're just providing him rational reasons why he should give you the raise. And it doesn't work this way. You need to use emotions. And then he told me, like, so what do you want me to say? I'll be very happy if you will give me a raise. I'll be joyful. I said, no. Try to explain to him what kind of emotions he can actually earn from having you. Because if he's going to get the raise, it actually means that he's going to be a manager and he's going to have his team members in his team. So I told him, you're working here for 5 years with the same manager. It means that this manager knows you. So first of all, he can be relaxed, that he has a manager that he knows, that he trusts. He knows that you are in his team. You know how he works. Like I meant like, you know how your manager knows how you work. So he trusts you. He knows that if you will build a team, he will know how you're going to build a team. So it's not just rational facts that are actually are the reason why he needs to get a raise. It's also the manager is also going to benefit from him, because I'm sure that every manager wants to have a team member in his team that he knows that he can manage, he knows that he can bring results, he knows that he can close his eyes and be relaxed, that his team member will do his job, and not someone that he doesn't know, that doesn't trust. And this feeling of being relaxed, secured, trust is not something that you can rationalize, and it's not something that you can get by hiring a new person. This is only something that you can earn from having a member for a long time. And this is what you should focus. Not only that you need to support your parents, because nobody cares about it. Like, you care about it, but not your manager.
I love the story because it seems to me that we go to the default setting. I. If you need to give me a raise because I'm working here for 5 years, you need to give me a raise because I support my parents. You work because I do. Yeah, but do you care about, like, no, you don't care. You care because we are by nature, quote unquote, selfish in a way that is from a survival and evolutionary point of view. But I need to show the other person how it benefits them. It's all about, it's
Yes,
just, and that is a clear example how we can get in our own way by mentioning, well, if you give me all of this is why, rather than, well, if you give me, it's just like, what would it look like for you, or what would you feel like, or how will your future look like having me, rather than, hey, it's just, I can work here or can go elsewhere, but it's up to you. It's up to each and every single one of us to show the other person why it benefits them more than it benefits us. So
correct.
fascinating, fascinating. And I know we're running out of time, so I want to ask you one more question. And once again, I definitely have to bring you back. But If
My
people took
pleasure.
one thing, if people could take one thing away from your work, what
Yeah.
would fundamentally change about how they communicate?
Yeah. You kept the best question to the end. So yeah. So if you want to deliver a message, an important one, it's something that you need to plan in advance. It's not something that comes in a second. So if you're going to do it, you need to think which emotion you're going to use, and you need to make sure that your emotion is going to be related to the context, to the text, or to the message itself. And again, I'm not talking here about like doing a manipulation or like inventing emotions, but you need to find emotions, such as the example that I gave with the salaries. This is something which is truth, because if you will give him the salary and he will be a team member, his manager will be relaxed, and because he trusts him. So you need to think what kind of emotion you can actually connect to the text, to the context, and then you need to deliver it. Because once you deliver the message, first of all, your person will be more attentive, he will listen to you. Secondly, the message will be delivered more successfully. So think of the message, think of the emotion, how you can connect it, and make sure that the emotion connects to the message itself. And make sure that you use it not in high intensity or low intensity. You need to make sure that you're not making a drama now, that the proportion will be the right proportion. So it can be, so the person will actually hear you and will also, it doesn't mean that he will understand and accept everything that you're saying, but he will hear you at the end of the day. And that's what we want from our partners, from our friends, from our managers. We want to be heard.
Mhm. It's almost like, by the way, love the answer. It's almost like we have to completely change how we see things and how we have been either conditioned or wired to argue or to deliver a message in a way that, well, clearly if it makes sense to me in my head, then it should make sense to you in your head, but that's
Yeah,
not how we're wired, that's not how we work,
correct.
and it just completely change and focus on what can I activate in this person that would help him or her make the decision I want them to make, which is awesome, fascinating. Once again, AL, was pleasure talking to you. Just time flew by, and but where can people find a little more about you, your work, anything?
First of all, they can find me on LinkedIn. And I also had a TED Talk last year, so they can just also find the TED Talk on YouTube. Just look for my name. And besides that, I also want to mention that it was a pleasure speaking with you, Daniel. We talked today. We also had a chat last week. It was a real pleasure. I enjoyed it a lot. And thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. No, thank you. And I'll definitely, and that's how I found you through the TEDx talk, which was like very insightful, very cool. Using, and you're very good at using personal stories to, once again, emotions to deliver a message and to
Yeah.
make a point across. But yeah, I'll add those to the description, the show notes. I'll add those links. And yeah, Eyal, thank you for coming. It was awesome conversation. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
The same here. Thank you very much and have a great day, Daniel.